Good morning, y'all. Welcome to
What's
the
going
morning
on?
rundown. Hey, Cullen, what's going
Hey, what's
on with
going
you?
on with you? No, chilling.
Nothing. I got my ice cold coffee over here, so I have to go get some more coffee. So it's the rundown, y'all. The morning rundown with me and Cullen, and
Hmm.
we're in the Brownstone Worldwide Studios of some capacity. And so, listen, y'all, let's get into some of this news and information that you can use, right? Because we want to end on a good note with a hot topic that Cullen is going to be talking about a little bit later. Then he gonna have nerve enough to ask me, and I'm
No.
tripping because okay, so we're gonna leave that for later. But y'all, one of the things that is currently on brownstoneworldwide.com right now is a topic that I think needs to be discussed, and that's Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders went to Twitter to express his disappointment with the NFL only choosing one student from an HBCU. And he
Hmm.
was pretty vocal about it and literally tagged the NFL. But what he wasn't expecting was he wasn't expecting the backlash that he got from people who were literally saying, "You ain't got nothing to say. What you mean you mad because they only picked one person from the NFL? When you left, you went to a PWI or predominantly white institution, and you took their star players from Jackson State with you. Does Deion Sanders literally have an opportunity to redeem himself? And does he have anything to redeem? That's my question for you, Cullen.
No, first I want to congratulate Isaiah Bolden for being drafted because
Congratulations. Yep.
that's good for him. Um,
Okay.
and I kind of there's two ways of looking at it. I do
Okay.
agree with Deion Sanders when it comes to drafting HBCU players, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting the recognition that they deserve. There's a lot of good, great players in HBCUs. They do need to get recognized and probably need more recognition.
Right.
As far as what they're saying about Dion, as far as leaving the HBCU to go to the PWI, and that's hypocritical. I mean, I could see it both ways. I could see it like they knew he wasn't going to stay long. His
Okay.
plan was not to be there for 10 years. His plan was to get in there, bring some recognition, make some noise, and do what he was planning on doing anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going and further his head coaching career, because I think eventually he wants to be a coach in the NFL
That's what
eventually.
I think too. And these
So
are just the steps, right? That
yes,
he's
yes.
taking.
So I don't. I mean, I can understand people being upset, but you knew going coming in, he wasn't staying. That's the
I don't
thing.
know. I think
He was
maybe
there
they
what,
thought.
3 years, 3, 4
I
years.
think
I
it was
mean,
there 3 years.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you knew he
Yeah.
wasn't staying, so that I don't think that's the big. He could have been there 5. He could have been there 8 years, and they still have been mad because he left because of the recognition he was bringing in.
Right. And
You
I
know,
think,
so
yeah.
it didn't matter how long he stayed. It
Yeah.
was going to be a fallout regardless of once he
Mhm.
left, it was going to be a fallout
I got
because
you.
of his recognition and who Deion Sanders is. I mean, he's so vocal. He
Mhm.
brings that spotlight on him, and wherever he's
Mhm.
going to go, he's going to bring that spotlight, and that was good. That was good for the HBCU, especially Jackson State. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can say it both ways.
I definitely don't. And only because I was watching his career while he was there and I was kind of like, wow, he's doing a lot. And like you said, his name is carrying a lot of weight. A lot of people know about prime time. But at the end of the day, what he did for Jackson State for his time there, and that's not to say that Jackson State doesn't have its own merit.
Yeah,
Okay. Because now
right.
we're talking about the sonic boom of the South. We're talking about their music program, which is world renowned, just like FAMU's is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that people were hoping that he would, um, consider making an HBCU a long-term opportunity for himself, because it did impact Jackson State and some of the. I was looking at the economic impact of having him there and what it did for the local area. So,
Right.
Jackson State being the blackest city in the
Mm-hmm.
United States, and being one of those that they're still trying to control both politically and economically, having him there was definitely a boon to the African American community and ultimately the college overall, because there were NFL
Scouts.
teams that were coming to see the students. There were opportunities that were being afforded to them that had never been or were very minimal. And now we're right back to the same thing. So to his point, yes, it is a disappointment. But then I'm going to also say this, and then of course we're going to move on. I'm going to also say that I think at the end of the day, it's also on the college. It's also on the HBCU.
Yes.
You know, are y'all reaching out? Pick up the phone and call some of your folks. I know you know somebody. You know, and
it's also on the colleges because they know both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
So they know how it was before Deion Sanders and while Deion Sanders was there. So if you know what it takes to keep it going, put some money into it.
That part.
Right.
But the hard part is you already know that most HBCUs are public. We have a couple that are private, like Bethune-Cookman, XYZ, right? But most are public schools, and they're not getting the same kind of funding that public PWIs are. They're just not. And you know, a perfect example is Florida A&M. You know, my daughter is there, and for God's sakes, she's a junior, and they already done put the juniors out because they don't have enough housing, and they're not looking to do anything about it. And so she's having to get an apartment. So we're talking about impacting Black families even further, you know, especially if, say, for instance, I didn't have the resources to do what was necessary and, you know, to kind of help her out. She would be up, you know, the creek without a paddle, because a lot of students are deciding now during their junior year, they're not returning because they don't have housing. And so we're talking about a bigger issue here when we're talking about the disenfranchisement of HBCUs overall. That's a whole different conversation.
I think so. You can't just put the blame on Deion, though.
No, you can't. No, not at all. You're right. I digress. I'm going to back off. So there you go. Now, if you guys want more information, of course, you can always head over to brownstoneworldwide.com and get more information about what we just talked about and see the content for yourself, the article content. Now, up next, we got to talk about the Rick Ross and why he over here cutting up in Fayetteville, Georgia. What is wrong? First of all, let me just say this. Let me go on over. You can go over to brownstoneworldwide.com and you can check out the article content for yourself and see exactly what I am talking about. Residents of Fayetteville, Georgia are up in arms over rap mogul Rick Ross's latest extravaganza. It's a car and bike show with a star-studded concert on his large property on Highway 279, which I literally drive, y'all. Some neighbors have had enough of Ross's outward displays of wealth and eccentricities, which have been compromising their quality of life. So they complained that the event is going to cause a bottleneck in the neighborhood, like it did a year ago when Ross hosted a similar show. At a recent Fayette County Board of Commissioners meeting, neighbors armed with a signed petition opposing the show expressed their grievances. So one neighbor actually said, I have the petitions here that we signed. Our quality of life was unnecessarily compromised. And a third person added, we feel locked out. It took me 40 minutes to get out of my subdivision. So residents have threatened to go on vacation if Ross is allowed to attract another, y'all ready for this? 6,000 people to the small subdivision. So the board has yet to make a ruling on it. But if any of you all are familiar with Fayetteville, Georgia, is a very small, quiet, bougie, lots of money, a lot of entertainers live in this area. A lot of movies are shot in this area. I live literally 15 minutes away from there. And so it's a nice, quaint town. Rick Ross bought Evander Holyfield's old mansion. Does he have the right to have that many folks on his property to have a party? Or should he do what everybody else does and just rent out the Georgia World Congress Center if you're going to have that many folks?
Man, you know, first world problems. I tell you, I think what does it matter? It's his property. If you want to do what he want to do, he ain't killing nobody. So, right. I mean, if there are rules that he's breaking, that's different. But if he's not breaking any rules and he's doing what he wants to do on his property that he paid good money for,
right?
I don't see a problem with it. Do your thing.
I do.
Ooh. I don't see a problem. I don't live there though, so I don't know. I wouldn't know how it would affect the people in the town, but like I said, as long as there's no negativity as far as rules being broken, you know, stuff negative stuff happening. Did it happen last? Like, did anything negative happen last year?
Outside of the fact that people couldn't get out of their, out of the subdivision the way that it is, they were frustrated with that because there were, an influx of people. So if it's going to be 6,000 people in my daggone subdivision, yeah, I got a problem with that. Okay. Now, mind you, it's on a sprawling leg of land, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like, but just imagine 6,000 people. That's like Freaknik in a subdivision. Hey, did you ever go to Freaknik, Culle? Mm-hmm. So I went for several years in a row, and I was there the year that it was 94. This is the one that the movie from Hulu was based upon. So the traffic was so bad, the traffic wasn't moving on 85, 25, I-20. It was that bad. Now think about living in your subdivision where you pay millions of dollars to be secluded from the mess, and it's being brought to your front door. Will that impact your property value over time, do you think? And then not only that, what about your safety? I don't know these folks. Who these folks is? I got questions.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you can look at it that way, but since I ain't got the money to be mad about it, I mean,
I'm just saying, Rick Ross out here cutting up because he,
it's because he's Rick Ross. I mean, if it was Selena Gomez, would they be mad?
Probably. But you know what? You bring up a really good question. Let me write that down. If Selena Gomez decided, but see, we don't know where Selena lives. Is she living in a subdivision with, a bunch of other folks? That's a good question, Culle. Really good question. All right, y'all. I left the best for last. First of all, here's what's happening in the Brownstone today. Keep it locked to our Facebook group at Brownstone Worldwide and also our YouTube channel, Brownstone Worldwide, to get caught up on all of our podcast shows with our air personalities like Leanne Dose, Dr. Michelle Josie, whose show airs today. And then we also have our Lunch and Learn series, which actually starts today. We have our influencer that's hanging out with us. Her name is Haitian Now. Okay. And she's going to be teaching you how to make money using social media. Then also we have Dr. Michelle Josie with her show that airs today at 2 p.m. All right. And then a replay of yesterday's show with Leanne Dose at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss it. You can go ahead and download the link over there above Culle. Y'all see that? You go ahead and download KCCR The Brownstone and get caught up on all things Brownstone Worldwide. It's a podcasting app and you can listen in. And then, of course, at the top of the 12, you'll be able to listen to the Hot Lunch Mix. All right, y'all. The last topic of the day. I'm gonna let you have it, Culle.
Okay, there's the topic. Does a man's job really matter to you? So would a man's job affect your decision in dating him? I think that's a good topic because a lot of people, they say, yeah, a lot of people think, if your job isn't of status the way they want it to be, then they belittle that person. They feel that they're not worth their time. They're not worth their time in dating them. And they don't think that, they think that their prospects are not there. So just because, and I think just because that man's, that man's current position doesn't put any reflection on him and what he can do 10 years down the road. But
okay,
as a woman, you asked the question because I think a lot of ladies can attest to, because I think men don't care. Men don't care if women flipping burgers. We don't care what your job is, but I know a lot of women do. So
let's put this in perspective because this was something that we were talking about earlier, and we said let's hold it, let's table it for the rundown. So here's my thought. First of all, I have never dated a broke man. I don't know what that is. Let me also be clear on something else. I've never pursued any man. I've always been pursued. So I don't know what that's like for a man of a specific stature, whatever broke is. Let me put that in perspective too.
Because I was just about to ask you, what is
right? So I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have always been pursued, right? But that comes with stipulations when you're pursued, and especially with a man with money. So I am currently dating, and I was pursued, and
say it again. You just gonna let that go past us? You don't think nobody was gonna notice you said that?
That I said I was dating? Yeah, I am currently dating.
Okay.
And it is this gentleman clearly is okay. Let me just put it to you like that. He's doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
And so not every so I don't know the question to that, but I will say this. I will say that if a brother is trying, if a man is trying, and even if I love him and I love him, and I can see the potential. See, men don't worry about that. Men can marry you because you cute. He ain't worried about nothing else because he already know that he got it. Women marry or get with somebody because it's about the provision aspect, right? So we have there's so many different divisions here. So one, you want a woman to be independent, you want her to take care of herself, but then you want her to be fine, you want her to be all of this, but at the same token, when she gets up and does that, then men get an attitude and they get mad about it, right? That's number one. The other thing is when we're talking about a woman desiring that's ultimately in her nature to want to be provided and protected. And that comes today in the form of money. Okay. She don't want to be stressed out. Right? You want her to stay fine and look cute and all that other stuff for you, and you coming home and the body tight and everything, and the house is together. At least here's the exchange that should be: if you doing your part, I'm doing my part, and let's meet somewhere in the middle. If you decide that you want her to remain at home, I know a lot of cats don't want their wife to work or their woman to be out in the workforce, and if that's the case, he got to be able to provide for that kind of lifestyle.
That's all well and good, but to me, judging a person because of their current status is not a good thing either, right? So right. If basically you want white collar instead of blue collar. If you got a blue collar job, he ain't for you. So if he's and there's nothing wrong, and there's a lot of blue collar jobs that make money, but
I was gonna say, yeah.
But some people, when they hear he's a bus driver or he's a janitor, they don't say, oh, but he makes good money from it. They don't really care because it's the prestige of that position. It's the status of that position.
Yeah.
And I think also makes a difference in whether they respect it or not.
I get it.
If he works in construction, it's not prestigious. It's not flashy. So he could be making 150,000 a year. He could be, he works in construction, but you want him to own the construction company. And
I mean,
and you belittle him because he doesn't own the company. He just works for him. It's just when you get into those type of deals, that's why I think where a lot of people come into problems, especially when they try to find somebody to be with.
I think that, and we have a video that we're going to show here briefly. I think for me personally, I've never not dated somebody that didn't have money. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that's like. And when I say dated, now I didn't say hunching, I said dated, where we knew we were a couple, right? So there is an absolute difference. So y'all need to be clear what y'all doing out here in these streets. Now, once you clear, at least let me say this as well, because I think this also needs to be said. I think that we also need to clarify, number one, be clear on what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. But then also understand that everybody has a starting point or a starting over point. You know what I'm saying? So the power of potential can be amazing, especially when you get with the right person that encourages you and got your back. That's something else. I never said that I was opposed to dating someone who didn't have the monetary resources that I thought was necessary, because I ain't never really thought about it like that. You know why? I pay my own bills. What I need you for? I need you because I want you in my life. So see, a lot of people don't have that kind of clarity. Like, I don't need you to pay my bills, bro. I got that. I got my own house. I got my own whatever. You know what I mean?
I think you are there are not a lot of women that think like that. I don't think, because even though you may have it like that, but still there are women that are out there that are doing well, but they still feel like if you ain't matching their energy, you shouldn't be with them. Even though, just like you said, they could be starting over. They could be doing something that they're trying to build on, but you're judging him from where he is now. You know,
Child, please, if I like you enough and you take me on a date and all we gonna have is peanut butter jelly sandwiches up under a tree and I like you, we gonna eat the peanut butter and jelly
okay,
sandwiches and we
I
gonna
like
talk
that.
and I'm gonna find out who you are. You know
That's
what I
good.
mean?
Hmm.
So I would prefer that over,
I agree.
and but like I said, I've never not dated nobody that nobody has ever come to me broke, quote unquote, whatever that is. You know what I mean? They always had their own thing and they were always willing to offer. But now that comes with stipulations as well. I had one that was a
Gotcha.
little nutso. Okay, we had to leave him alone. But yeah, I mean, I just think Iyanla Vanzant said it best. Let's go ahead and check that out, shall we?
All right.
Would you date a bus driver? You. Would you date
If
a
he
bus
owns
driver?
the bus, if he owns
No.
it, if he owns the bus,
See, that's a
Iyanla.
problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong, it's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself.
Woo! She said a
That's a lot.
mouthful right there.
Yeah.
And I agree with her 100%. Like I said, if he coming to the table and he got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and we sitting up under the tree and we chilling, as long as he got a plan and we can build together, you know what I mean? And like she said, have something on the side because my mama always taught me, you always, you never let the left hand know what the right hand do and always protect yourself.
Yeah,
Long
and that's fine. Then
Right.
I like Ebony Williams' response, initial response when she asked that question. She was like, she had
If
the
he
deer in
owns
the
it.
headlights look, and then she had a parse lip like, yeah, he's got to own the bus, and that's that's to me,
Mhm.
that's a lot of people think like that, and I like the way I liked her response. I liked her response to her. So
Yeah.
I think
And
I will be going on live a little bit later today to talk about this topic a little bit more.
Okay, cool.
So hopefully you guys can come check me out a little later.
All righty. Well, that sounds good. Cullen, this was good, y'all. So if you want to check out some of the outtakes from today's show, if you want to check out the replay of this, go over to our YouTube channel at Brownstone Worldwide. And also keep connected with us throughout the day we've got those Brownstone Corner Store deals that are coming your way today. And we also have Dr. Michelle Josie and Wake Up Happy Sis with the replay from yesterday. If you missed yesterday's replay, you are in for a treat. You can go ahead and download the app over there, kccrthebrownstone.com. Of course, you can also download KCCR Radio, the podcasting app, to your iOS or Android devices. All right, Cullen, do we have anything else that we need to cover?
No, I think that's it. That's good for now. I think
Cool.
we're good.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been real. I'll see y'all in these internet streets sometime today. All right, folks. We're out of here. Have a good one.